Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, I got a quick little video for you guys here today. Pretty cool one. I've got two columns that are 20 feet long. They're 5-inch round tube, and on the very top we've got to fabricate some buckets roughly 12 inches long, 5 1/4 inches wide by 6 inches tall. Got to drill some holes in there to accept some screws. That's going to be supporting a glue lamp beam. Now on the bottom of the column we've got a 5/8 thick by 12-inch square steel plate with some 1-inch holes that have been punched through it, and we're going to be epoxying some 3/4 bolts in the existing concrete, and that's what we got going here today. So let's get started on today's project. Alright, so I started out with the 1/4-inch plate, and I had this sheared at my local metal supply store to the right lengths and dimensions that I needed. And then I went around and just cleaned up the edges and you know, cleaned off some of the mill scale around the edge where I was going to be welding. Using this Walters grinder with their flap discs. It's a pretty awesome tool so far. I'm really liking it. And then the next thing I'm doing right here is you can just see I'm laying out for the holes that I've got to drill for the screws that it's going to take to get this attached to the glue lamp beam. This is what the plan's called for. So just to get over to the mill and line some things up here and just drilled everything out. You know, that works out pretty good. I'm telling you, I've used the mill a lot more than I ever used to, just for situations like this where everything's got to be drilled in a perfectly straight line. Worked out pretty good. And then, you know, just deburred everything. The countersink bit right here and just cleaned up those holes. Worked out pretty good. Everything is nice and flat and ready to go. Now, the assembly on this is pretty straightforward. You know, like I said, the dimensions are already cut, and it's just a matter of getting everything nice and plumb and tacked together. And that's what I'm doing right here on both sides. I want to be sure that everything is nice and square, nice and tacked together, and I've got the right dimensions that I need. And one thing I do prior to welding this together, just from past experience, is put a spacer in there of some sort and clamp it together, because definitely the heat distortion is going to close that up and you're going to have bigger problems. So you can see I'm just going ahead and I'm just welding it out on the outside here, and you know, I did this to both of them on both sides. And then I wanted to also do it on the inside, but just something really small. The beam needs to fit flush in there, and I just wanted to lay something in there, just something small and tight, and that's what I did. I did the best I could right there. It's just a small little bead that ran across there, and ultimately that worked out pretty good. So there they are, both complete and done. You know, you can buy these buckets, but what fun is that? I like to build my own. So the next step is to figure out the center and the square of this 5/8 plate, and this is just a drop left over from the pipe column that was cut to length, and I'm just tracing those out. Speaking of pipe columns, there they are. They're definitely long enough, a little over 20 feet long. And, you know, these things are a little over 300 pounds a piece, I should say. And for me, maneuvering these things around my shop was kind of difficult. Just even when I'm trying to I get the plates welded on, I just don't have any room. And you see, I'm going from one end of the shop to the other end of the shop, and I'm even running them into my office door here, into my office, just to create enough room so I can get my equipment over there and get these plates welded on. Kind of crazy, but yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And I'm just here, I've got a sanding disc, and I'm going around the outside taking the coating off. This is where the plates are going to be welded. I want some nice clean metal to do that. It always works better that way. And then here is a good chance. I'm using these Nelson studs. Like I said on the last project, I decided not to use them. Well, look at this. I got to have some grounding lugs there, so that's what I use those for right there, temporary grounding lugs. Now these plates here are pretty heavy, and having to do everything myself, I just was able to help hold it in place and get them tacked on and get ready to start the welding process. Okay, just to clear a few things up from the last video, I had a lot of comments in the comment section saying that you're not really supposed to be welding dual shield flux core downhill. Now, I'm relatively new to dual shield flux core, so I'm not that checked out on it. I'm self-taught here basically, but watching videos like you guys. So thank you guys in the comments section for letting me know that. So we're going to take things a little bit differently here. we're going to start about this point right here, and we're going to come over the top, and then we're going to come on this side and come over the top this way. We're going to flip it around and finish it off. All right, let's do it. All right, so that worked out pretty good. You know, I did that. I started down low and came over the top. Now this is a pretty big area to handle, and it's a lot more difficult doing that than it is if it was standing vertically straight up. That's for sure. So ultimately, after doing both of these, I put a single pass in, and then I came back and backed it up with a second pass, and that took care of the situation. And we got things all buttoned up here and got ready to get them over to the job site. Alright, so here on the job site, we've got the steel columns right here, or at least the one steel column right here. And it's going to go in this hole right here. And it is going to go all the way up to the top up there. You can see that what we did is we drilled and epoxy some 3/4 inch bolts. We had 9-inch embedment. We used Hilti 500 epoxy for that. And then once the epoxy set, we were able to stand the column up, get it bolted in place, and then I was able to get the buckets welded to the column up on top of the glue lam beam. Worked out pretty good. Once that was done, we just mixed and poured the concrete and covered everything up. After, of course, we dry packed underneath the steel plates. And anyways, we got it all done. It was a quick little project, but it turned out pretty good. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.